Good to go.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the third episode now of the Pond Hockey Podcast. We have a lot to talk about this week. A lot has happened in the last week.
Yeah, things have been kind of crazy.
It's been a long week of playoff hockey. Some stuff that is surprising, some that really isn't. For our live listeners, they are already aware of what's going on tonight and at least one of the series, so I guess we'll just start with that. We'll start with the Maple Leafs and the Lightning. This series has had a mix of expected, mix of unexpected. I think the mix of unexpected has been Andrei Vasilevsky lost back-to-back games for the first time in forever in the playoffs. That was a big surprise. But I think the main topic to get into is Game 1 right now with the suspension of Michael Bunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was your opinion on this suspension, Nick? I'm curious.
Just shaking my head. Like, what was his goal? What was his plan?
His goal was to basically take Eric Chernak's head off and not necessarily care how he did it.
Yeah, I'm watching it again to see how bad it really. Yeah, that was a yikes. Like, I remember seeing the original hit on Sportsnet, and I saw it in like real time, and I didn't think it was that bad originally until they showed like a closer angle, like a tighter angle, and I was like, that was ugly."
Yeah, like I remember like the initial time I saw it. Initially, I didn't really think much of it because the camera angle wasn't all that great. So I'm like, yeah, it's a 2-minute minor for interference. Like, of course it was.
Yeah.
And then Sportsnet played it again, and my reaction was like, I don't see this guy getting back into the lineup.
He's gonna get back in at some point, especially given. I hate saying it. I've looked at. They're getting outplayed, out hit tonight.
Yeah.
They might have to bring him back.
Except my thing is the guy who's replaced him, Matthew Nyes, has been significantly better than Michael Bunting, and that's why I say it, because you have Michael Bunting who, like it or not, is a liability on this team, drawing way too many penalties on himself, and the penalties that he does draw against the other team, he takes them right back. So my whole point with this suspension is like, you're playing relatively good. You stole a game in Tampa. I don't think Bunting should get back into the lineup. I don't.
I would for one exception, because I watched a little bit, and maybe I'm seeing things differently. Kerfoot stinks.
Yeah.
I know it's like he's getting paid a lot and all these things, but like guys like Sam Lafferty are playing better than him, and like Kerfoot's supposed to be one of these big guys who's like was supposed to get a lot better this year.
Yeah.
Especially since you protected him over Jared McCann 2 years ago. And I'm probably still regretting that, which I'm not saying it's a cut words, but it's like he's just been so frustrating to watch. It's like, and while Michael Bunting has been played like an absolute idiot Game 1, you need him on the ice to annoy other teams.
Yeah,
because especially since like with the Lightning, with like guys like Tanner Jeannot and other guys like that.
Yeah, and it's like, I get like he brings sandpaper, he brings grit. Now, I would bring him back into the lineup under one condition. He does not see any top 6 ice time. You can't do it. He's too much of a liability. Because even with last night with the Morgan Riley hit, you saw what Tampa did. They were very willing to trade, I think it was Stamkos and Kucherov for Matthews and O'Reilly, and even then it didn't work. And it didn't really work because it didn't really mess up the Leafs' line structures. But with Bunting, what happens too often with him is he's normally on the top line with Matthews and Marner, or Matthews or Nylander, or whoever is on that top line in a given night. But if you want to trade someone on the third line, like Nick Paul for Michael Bunting, you take that trade 10 times out of 10. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
So, like, if he gets back into the lineup, I think it's a case of just he plays in the bottom 6. You anchor him there. He stays there.
You know what I think they should do? I take him, put him on the third line with O'Reilly and Achari.
Yeah.
Take Nyes, put him on the second line, in my opinion.
It worked good in the last game when they had an empty net.
I just think Kerfoot needs to personally be out of the lineup. It's him or Aston Reese, and Aston Reese has been playing good.
Aston Reese has been a hardworking guy, so it's like I don't
that
know.
Fourth line of Reese, Camp, and Lafferty, I don't think you can break that up right now.
I don't.
Kerfoot's that odd man out, and I hate saying that, but it's true.
And my whole point is, like, I don't know how much you jumble with the lines, because Keefe loves to bring the blender out on, like, really a game-to-game basis. So I'm just like, if they're playing well right now, you already stole a game in Tampa. Like, I don't know how much I'd change, if anything. Like, I guess I agree with you that Kerfoot would be the odd man out. But after that hit, I'm just like, Bunting is so much of a liability. And I saw an article the other day, I think it was by Elliot Friedman, where it said Keefe has tried to get to Bunting so many times over the last 2 years about, hey, you got to pick your spots when you want to make like a hard hit or make like something that wouldn't get the refs' attention. Like, let's be honest here, every single NHL team does it in the playoffs, but you have to pick your spots when you do it. Like Marchand, expert at picking his spots. Tom Wilson, expert at picking his spots. Like, it's stuff like that where he gets the coaching and flat out ignores it. And that's what makes players like Marchand and Wilson better than him, not just in skill, but also in working the refs, because those are two skills you need to have when you're a player like that.
Oh, yeah. No, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there with that kind of, like, idea. But it's going to be something that's, I feel like, I need to watch. Because I think if Kerfoot continues to keep playing bad, he's one of these guys that's like, he's not offering anything, and I guess you do run the risk of a guy becoming a liability.
Yeah.
But if you play him on lower lines, it shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, like, it takes Tampa's leverage away from him. Like, that's all you really have to do if you want to bring him back.
Which is what I think they desperately need right now.
Because, like, I don't think Matthew Nyes comes out at all. The guy has been a revelation for the team. He's been... I know he hasn't really been there on the score sheet, but just, like, the way he works defensively, the way he chases after pucks, like, the kid's hungry.
It's almost like watching Nick Robertson from the Columbus series.
Yeah, it's like, you keep him in. I keep him in. But just in terms of, like, the series overall, and this is a topic that we'll get to later, I've seen a lot of things about this series just in terms of officiating, people complaining. And I just wanna spend some time on this. Now, are the officials in the NHL during the playoffs bad? Oh, absolutely. Everyone who's ever watched a game of playoff hockey, like with intent, knows how bad the officiating can be. Mm-hmm. My thing is, they are not just bad for one team. They're not out to get you. Like, they're not out to, like, specifically get one team. They are bad for literally everyone.
They're bad for the game of hockey.
Oh, they're just bad. Like, they're not there to call the rules of hockey. They're there to call the game. Those are two completely different things.
No, they're it's a figure skate. I love it. Oh, this is a personal thing. I love when I see, like, penalties get called, like, when they have to review something, they all group together. It's group skate over to the box.
Like a flock of zebras just going, beep.
Like, we call it synchronized skating. No, that's synchronized failing is what that is.
Like, now, I know we were going to talk about the instance with Sheldon Keefe's relationship with Wes McCauley. From what I understand, there was an incident when we're not going to get into it too much because this is a trigger warning for everyone. This involves some pretty serious topics. There was an incident involving Sheldon Keefe and Wes McCauley's brother-in-law. We're not going to get into it too much. We can get into this over the summer if it becomes a big enough story. Right now, I'm just not comfortable covering it in enough detail because not enough has come out about it.
It's a good off-season topic, potentially.
But apparently there's something going on something that did go on between Sheldon Keefe and Wes McCauley, who's an NHL official, for those of you who don't know, regarding his brother-in-law. That relationship is seriously strained, and I guess the NHL is comfortable with that because Wes McCauley has officiated many Toronto games. It wouldn't surprise me, though, after that article came out, that we don't see Wes McCauley officiate another Maple Leafs game for the rest of the time they are in the postseason. just because that has a pretty serious connotation to
Yeah,
it.
especially because usually it gets weirder when you see cases like especially in the tweet that you sent me. Accused testimony remains under a publication ban. That you normally don't see that often, especially in the case of someone who's like the best way to describe it would be like a public. He's a public figure.
Yeah,
you don't see it with public figures, so
you really don't.
This is bad to me. Like I thought games were bad, like because I want to like kind of connect it over with bad officiating when you see in like football. And I don't know if you remember a few years back, it was the Rams game, and people were connecting that because, like, I think all five of the six refs from that game in the Rams-Saints game in 2019 were from LA.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this is, like, that's worse to me because it's, like, stuff like that, okay, that's just the NFL being stupid and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Cases like this, that's pretty damning because that's information I feel like you should know, especially since everything that happened with the Blackhawks.
Oh yeah, and like the NHL definitely has some more skeletons in their closet than people think. Like I think a lot of people know that now after the Blackhawks situation worked its way out.
That's insane.
But just in terms of like the officials, the only thing that's really stuck out to me just in this series, because like we'll get to the controversies in the other series as well, but especially in this series, it's the only game that Wes McCauley has called, right? And they got, I think the penalties were like 10-4, something like that in game one, something crazy like that.
What?
So like part of me is like, yeah, they're just bad for everyone, which they absolutely are. But something like that, I mean, like, I get that game got out of hand. It was a blowout. But at the same time, it's something the league has to look out for. And I think they are well aware of it now. And I think that they're going to be careful moving forward about who's staffing which games. And I think they very should. Because, like, if you're a coach or a player that has a strained relationship with an official, like, it doesn't hurt them to get, like, a new head official or just the new staff in. It really doesn't. They have plenty of refs, so just put them in. They're going to be bad either way.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. It's just, I don't know. I guess for me, it was new. Like, seeing that kind of just, like, jumbles my head a little bit.
Yeah. Like, yeah, of course it does, because, like, you never want to see that. It's really just one of those things that the NHL and the NHLPA is going to have to deal with. They just are. Like, it's not one of these things that you can just put out a public statement on and be like, so we're good, right? Like, you just can't do that.
It doesn't help, especially because in a case like this, it's such a hard line you have to walk.
Yeah.
It just doesn't help. And it's like, it sucks we have to, like, talk about things like this when playoff hockey's actually been goodish this year.
Playoff hockey's been good. Like, it's always good.
It feels a little weaker than the last 2 years, but that could just be me. But
I mean, speaking of your opinion, let's go into the series that you're well invested in, the Kraken and the Avalanche.
Like I said, game on at 10, so I can't get annoyed right now.
I mean, you can. There have been 3 games. So just tell us some of your opinions about the 3 games.
Game 1 and 2, I'm not going to complain at all, because genuinely, those are great games. Even game 2 where we lost, and it sucked because we had a 2-0 lead. But I knew the Avs were going to have, like, they were going to fight back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help when you get shelled 41 times.
Yeah.
But that's to be expected from the Avs. But it just felt like our offense just kind of shut off after the first period. But after that, game 3 was so frustrating.
Dude, I was frustrated for you. I was watching game 3 after the Leafs game 3 had ended. And I think, weren't they down like 3-1 or something like that? And they stormed back with 2 goals.
We stormed back and tied. Elysiak and Beniers both got us goals. And after that, boom, here's Mikko Rantanen. Boom, there's Nathan McKinnon. Yeah. Boom, here's Mikko Rantanen. And I'm just looking there and I'm like,
and
okay.
I don't necessarily think that's like, I think it's 2 things. I think it's the Kraken still being a relatively new group. Like, they're still trying to figure themselves out. But I also think it's just the Stanley Cup pedigree that the Avs have, because, like, let's not kid ourselves. They won a cup last year, and they beat a pretty good team to do it in the Lightning. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more of a testament to the Avalanche just having that experience and knowing what it takes, and the Kraken just being this relatively new group that's just come together this season.
The one thing I will say, though, save for that third period of Game 3, they have been consistently, like, a team that has been frustrated. I said it at the start of the second episode. I think the second episode. But I said that Georgiev was not as good as people made him out to be.
Oh, yeah, and I think I've agreed with you with that sentiment so far.
But
I think it's been relatively even in terms of the goaltending.
It's been average both sides.
Yeah.
I can't even blame Grubauer to an extent, save for, like, the last 2 goals this series. But, like, save for that, he's actually played good.
Oh, yeah. I think Grubauer's been good considering... Grubauer's been good considering the amount of shots he's taken in this series. He's been considerably better than he was in the regular season.
He's getting shelled. The top line has been so bad at dealing. The top line's been awful. Like, just awful at dealing with their top line.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, because their top line is, like, what?
Terrifying.
McKinnon, Rantanen, and it's not Landeskog this year. I think they slotted Lehkonen up there. I don't remember exactly.
Lehkonen, yeah. No, Lehkonen's just... Oh, my God, I hate him.
But that team... The Avs are one of those teams, I think, just under the radar. I think they could go again if they get hot again. But the thing that I will give the Kraken a lot of credit for is even though they're down 2-1 in the series, they have not looked out of it the entire time. Like, they've been putting up a really good fight.
Tried and gave it a fight.
Yeah. Like, they've put up a really good fight against the defending champs, man. Like, that... For a new group to go out there and put up that good of a fight against a Stanley Cup pedigree team, like, props to you guys. Like, I don't even really think it matters if you lose in 5 or 6. Like, you guys are playing with house money right now. Like, you guys have a good team going forward. And keep in mind, this is without your top draft pick, Shane Wright. Like, this is even before you get your first-round pick, Shane Wright, in there next year.
Here's hoping he develops. Fingers
crossed. Yeah.
He should, but...
Like, I think you guys are a goalie and a little bit of center depth away from being, like, a true past-the-second-round contender.
But it's definitely felt weird. They've looked really, like they've looked really shaky, the Avs, which is like
they have.
I was expecting. I drank the Kool-Aid and said yes, Seattle's going to win their first playoff series this year. But at the same time, I was also sitting there like, you know what? I'm gonna just have faith and see what happens.
Oh yeah, and there's no harm in that. Like, it's not like you're in my position right now where a team you cheer for, not naming any names, not like they're down 4-1 right now. But
yeah, I was going to say that.
Like, you're not sitting here in a position of constant pessimism where, like, they haven't won a playoff round since you were 2 years old, and they haven't won a cup since before your own mother was born. Like, this is the kind of thing, like, with the Kraken, I think the fans are going to have a very good time cheering for them, and I think, like, you're having a pretty good time cheering for them, even though they've had, like, a couple of playoff losses, but I think at the end of the day, there's a lot more to get excited about than to get upset about with this team.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I feel like we have to still just talk about it. It's just I feel like the best way to talk about it would be mixing one series that has been in and this idea. It's the refs.
Yeah,
especially for me as a newcomer, I thought I saw bad stuff because I thought it's so sad as well because like you see two of the worst officiating moments I've seen on the same player. On Joe Pavelski?
Oh, yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about when I think it was Cody Eakin hit him, like kind of like accidentally hit him. Like it was something that either should have been 2 or not a penalty, even though it was just bad luck. And they gave him a 5-minute power play, which led to the greatest joke ever.
That's probably top 5.
Start of the Vegas
greatest
Joker
joke ever. Hey, that's kind of a hard one to top when the Leafs exist.
Yeah, but when you give up 4 power play goals in 5 minutes, that's up there.
Nick, they gave up a 4-goal lead in 80 seconds before. We are not the same.
Anyways.
But it just makes it... Going into this game, you saw Especially because all 3 games I watched, because I picked the Wild to win the Cup. I kind of wish I did now.
They have a chance. They're up there tied in the series.
Matt Dumba's the single biggest villain in NHL history right now. He's laid a dirty hit in all three. They play
in every game.
Games? Have they played 4 games?
Yeah. The series is tied 2-2.
I don't remember. Did I watch? I didn't watch Game 4, but I watched Game 3.
Yeah.
And I saw him lay 2 nasty hits on Marchment. Both were should have gotten called. Called neither.
And this is the very thing with newcomers to hockey that the NHL, this is like one of the biggest problems the NHL needs to fix. You guys have got to stop making new fans guess on what is going to get called and what isn't. Mm-hmm. Set a precedent early, maybe perhaps, and hear me out, perhaps in the regular season you set a precedent on what's getting called and what isn't. Because you have new fans coming in going, oh, I have no idea why X is getting called and Y isn't, where we're spending too much time. Like what? This podcast has been going on for 20 minutes, and we've probably spent a good half of it talking about the officials. Like, this needs to stop. You guys need to start calling the games where the rule book is saying what the call should be. Stop making it about your own discretion because it should be about the rule book. Just stop.
I love that point, especially when you brought up the new fans, because I've watched it from Steve Dangle. And I think about it in my own perspective, because I think I've only watched playoff hockey twice.
Yeah.
Like, I saw clips from, like, the second year. I think that was 18. Yeah, it was 18. I watched the clips from 18. But I didn't really... I guess 3 years then, technically, because COVID year. I watched the COVID playoff year and then the last 2 seasons. So the last 3 seasons I've watched playoffs. And, like, half the time I'm sitting there and, like, when I'm at games, like, being at live games is, like, the worst when it comes to that sort of thing. Where it's, like, something happens and you're sitting there, like, what happened? And then, like, I asked my good friend Liam, who is, like, a massive hockey junkie, like, grew up with it his whole life. And even he's had moments where he's looked at me, he's like, dog, I don't know what's happening. And I'm sitting like, really?
Oh, like, dude, I, like, eat, sleep, and breathe hockey, and there have been some moments in these playoffs where I'm like, I have no idea what they're thinking. And, like, this is a good segue to go into Edmonton and L.A. The part about the high stick call, like the one where the puck may or may not have graced Trevor Moore's stick. I forget who it was on the Kings.
I don't think I've seen
that led directly to the overtime winner. Now, I saw a tweet saying, we need better educated refs because if you have a college understanding of physics, you can tell by Newton's law of whatever physics that the puck touched his stick. I'm just like, guys, just stop. Literally just stop. The refs are terrible. We all know this. But this doesn't give them a free pass. It should be, call the rule book. Or... and hear me out again, maybe if it leads to an overtime winner, review it.
Yeah.
Like, you mean to tell me you don't have a camera angle of the puck hitting it? And I think they reviewed this call too. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, there wasn't conclusive evidence to say, like, the puck hit the high stick or not. Like, I think it could have gone either way. They just went with the call on the ice.
Yeah.
But with the officials again taking the attention in this Edmonton and LA series, a series that's been great, by the way. Like, I hate that on, like, Twitter or Instagram after a score, instead of talking like, hey, this was a great game, we're talking about how bad the officials are every time.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if this is necessarily just, like, a victim complex of every single fan base. And, like, I'll admit, I've been in this boat too. Like, yeah, I've been in this boat too. We're like, hey, we didn't get some calls tonight. Like, that's gonna happen, like, no matter what. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it shouldn't be bad enough to the point where everyone's complaining about the officials, no matter what's going on, even if you won.
That's literally, like, the best way to describe it. It's so... it just makes frustration, especially, like I said, in a series like the Wild one. Like, we're gonna transition to that next, but, like, that series has been incredible.
Oh, yeah, it has.
And, like, I feel like we got different opinions on what's the best series. I think that series has been the best. Save for Game 2, which was...
yeah. I think
God,
I'm starting
why?
to agree with you that that's the best series too. By the way, I did have Edmonton and LA
I could see
in
that as well.
terms
To be
of the
fair,
best
that
series
game
just
yesterday was
because of
crazy.
like just the sheer skill. But I'm starting to think Minnesota and Dallas is because like I was watching that game I think it was last night. Jake Ottinger, are you kidding me, dude?
Oh, my
Are you
goodness.
actually kidding me?
I cried internally when I saw that
Oh my god, that reminds me of the
People go to jail for
Marc-Andre
that robbery.
Fleury Game 7 save against Detroit in 09. Like, it was that level. It was great.
save. Marc-Andre Fleury, ha ha ha.
Who's on the Wild now?
He let 7 goals in.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
did you play him?
I don't know, man. The coaches have a terrible time deciding which goalie should I start when they have the tandem system.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
Like you've seen all year, Philip Gustafsson has just been the better goalie. You've seen it all year long. He has been the better goalie.
Yeah, for at least a solid 2 months, he's been the better goalie, man. Just start Gustafsson. Like,
Most
play
of
the
year
hot
he's
hand.
been the better goalie.
Yeah, like play the hot hand, dude. It's not hard. It's really not.
That's why I'm glad they did. I know he didn't have the best night, but also Ottinger single-handedly willed them to victory.
Oh yeah, like I think he's been Dallas's most valuable player in this series. Like
There's no question about
Ottinger's,
it.
Ottinger's just otherworldly, man. Like he has moments. Goalies are like voodoo. They have moments where it's like, what in the world was that?
Probably the best way to describe it is Jordan Binnington has a cup.
Yeah, like Matt Murray has 2. It's the same thing. It's like
Remember
one
the goalie
moment
who
they
got
look
Dallas to their
unbeatable. One moment they look unbeatable, and then the next,
AHL.
oh my gosh, you are terrible.
Remember the goalie for Dallas? Good old Anton Khudobin. You know where he's at now.
Is he in Chicago?
He's in Chicago.
I think I
watched him
only
give him,
know that.
I watched him give him one of the worst goals of my life. And look how Giant lost the Caps.
That's how
You
I
remember?
knew he was
'Cause
on the
I showed you that
Caps.
clip and I died laughing watching
We
it.
literally
was-
just clicked on the game, and Hudobin had it on his
Just
stick,
served a meatball.
shoveled it, and Connor Sherry of all guys picked it up and went, thanks?
He's like, delivery day.
Like, that's one of those passes. I'm going to quote my favorite YouTube creator, Steve Dangle. That's one of those passes that had, like, a question mark at the end of it. Like, pass?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, man.
And
Like,
it's a funny phrase. If you're a goaltender, the best goaltenders are, the ones who tend the goal.
even the best goaltenders have a problem tending the goal. Like, just
That is
Just
true.
stay in the crease, man.
Mike
Like
Smith,
you are
anybody?
very rarely helping. Just
Mike
stay
Smith,
in the crease.
anybody?
Mike Smith was in his crease and still let in a goal from like 3/4 of the way down the ice. To this day, I don't know how the Oilers made it to the conference finals with Mike Smith. They're starting Jack Campbell, so Kings in 6. But anyways,
He single-handedly bailed them out of that night.
dude, a broken clock is right twice a day, and I have a
That's true.
feeling I'm going to eat those words. I love soup too. Like I don't know why I'm saying that. I guess it's because of the Oilers bias I have. I don't know.
Really got to go from the best series to the obvious worst one, the elephant in the room.
That's a pretty big
Can
elephant.
we blow the party poppers for Florida winning a game?
You won a game! Yeah!
And now you're about to get destroyed.
Dude,
Can we appreciate they lost 6-2 last night
dude,
or Sunday? Yeah, last night. Might be.
I had a feeling it was about time because Alex Lyon faltered, which the dam broke on that one, and then you played Sergey. I make $10 million to sit on the bench, Bobrovsky.
Who let?
Dude, I would kill
Who had
for
it?
that job. I might kill for
who
that
had
job.
833 save percent.
Dude, I probably my friend who's on my beer league team could go into that game and put up the same numbers.
You know what's funny?
And he would
outshot
probably
him.
do it for significantly less.
They outshot him by almost 15.
Yeah, because it's the Bruins.
No,
Or the Panthers outshot the
the
Bruins.
Panthers outshot the Bruins by 15 and lost 6-2.
Panthers. Ooh, what?
Taylor Hall had 4 points that night.
My goodness. I'm going to be dead honest with you. I have watched one game of the Bruins-Panthers series, and it was because it was like the second game of the playoffs, and the Carolina and Islanders series was boring at the time.
Wait, did you watch the Bruins Panthers game? This game 2.
I
one they
watched
won?
a little bit of game 2.
Was it the one Florida won?
Yeah, I watched a little bit
That
of game
game's
2
just
where they like killed them 6-2. Like,
6-3,
okay,
yeah.
go off, Panthers.
But that's the worst bit. That's usually in the worst series because like
Oh.
every single game has just been
Yeah.
boring.
I think
Either-
Boston will have a good matchup in round 2, no matter what.
Yeah, they'll blow up. They're blowing out Florida in game 4. I really hope they
Yeah.
start Bobrovsky just for the jokes.
Yeah, I
Be
think
hilarious.
I think if it's the Lightning or the Leafs, they'll have a good matchup in the second round. But until then, but like you kind of knew the Panthers were gonna like they put up a fight, but at the same time, like they've
Not
been fighting for
really.
their playoff lives since like
Not really though.
since good Lord February. Like it's been crazy.
They said, "Hey,
Yeah.
you only have to play the best team in hockey ever.
Here you go.
Good luck."
Okay, but like I wasn't wrong about the Panthers, but who I was kind of wrong about, but I was wrong about them for the first 2 games, and then all of the sudden they flipped a switch and like, hey, we can tie this series, Devils and Rangers, like.
Well, currently we could do games. We could do a game tracker right now. So I'm checking
Yeah.
the game. It is 2-1 Devils
Yeah, like
with
dude,
4 minutes left.
I thought the Devils were dead in the water after game 2. They looked terrible at
They had to
home.
make a change. Well, because they made a change in game 3.
Yeah, goaltender change.
Yep. I don't even. The worst part is I'm new. I'm still not sure who this guy is. Akira Schmid is his name.
Oh yeah,
Young guy.
he's a minor league call up, I think, who has a 955 tonight. Oh my goodness! All right.
Yeah, because they lost. Well, because they lost Jonathan Bernier. Well, he's probably done for good.
Yeah,
And
he's done.
Mackenzie Blackwood is
Yeah.
legendarily bad.
But
they broke the man.
if the Devils get hot goaltending, which they have in like the last couple of games, even towards the end of game 2 where they got their show run, like the Devils are a good enough team and a young enough team to where like if they get like hot goaltending, oh boy. Like they could be dangerous, underratedly dangerous, and I think the Rangers are starting to find out very quickly about how dangerous this Devils team can be. Like, I said it from the beginning, like, it wouldn't have surprised me about which team would move on. Like, I still have the Rangers just because of experience and Igor Shesterkin alone, but just with the Devils, with how they've been playing recently, Jack Hughes especially, like, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I don't find it a coincidence he has the most ice time by about 4 minutes.
As he should.
Well, I guess for the forwards, let me rephrase that.
Oh, yeah,
There's
he should.
3 guys with 20-plus minutes. Him, Ryan Graves, which is interesting.
Ryan
and
Graves,
John Marino,
underrated.
which, by the way, Pens fans are crying internally.
Oh, John Marino?
Yeah.
Dude, I said it on, I think it was our first or second episode of this show.
Probably the second.
That was probably the trade that began the downfall of the Penguins. Like, I'm not even kidding.
We appreciate it. I think Ty Smith played all of, 5 games.
Because they couldn't get the salary cap in order. It was one of those things that Ron Hextall really struggled with. For a team that just wasn't all that great this year, for, a cap-strapped team, which is, he basically turned the Penguins into a better version of the Flyers, which is not a compliment.
Oh, God. Oh, no. That's a sad state of affairs.
The good news is the Penguins got rid of him quick enough where they can reverse it. But, dude, they had, very similar moves to them where they got older for no reason and overpaid gritty guys for no reason, too. You need some speed. You need some youth. You need all this other stuff.
Tell Granley, baby.
This is a good segue about the Penguins, too, before we get back to the Devils and the Rangers.
Yeah.
I saw a rumor that Jake Gensel had potential to be on the market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I had a bad feeling that was going to
Dude,
happen. Because Russ, I just found out. Remember what last episode I said they needed to trade Russ?
Yeah.
Then I found out his contract's not movable at all. It's a
Dude.
no trade clause.
Dude, if
They're
you get
doomed.
rid of Jake Gensel, you might as well get rid of a
Well, the
piece of
issue
the
is
core,
they
too.
can't. They can't. I even looked. They can't even buy out Jeff Carter next year.
No, they can't. It's buyout proof.
They can't buy Jeff Carter. They can't trade Brian Russ.
That
There's
is-
so much.
Jeff Carter's deal
They're in
is
living
probably
hell.
the worst in hockey. It's probably the worst in hockey.
I could make an argument on 1 or 2.
in terms of
OEL
like a
could be
team
up there.
in terms of a team that's like trying to fancy themselves as cup contenders, it's one of the worst in hockey.
Yeah, the only one I could see being worse is OEL.
Yeah, but like the Coyotes are retaining some salary on that, so it doesn't hurt as bad. But
the Canucks are also stupid. Anyways,
yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. That's in the off season. They're not in the playoffs. We're based in Pittsburgh, so like we'll talk about the Penguins anytime, anywhere. But in terms of like teams that haven't made it, unless something like serious comes up, we're gonna try to stay away from that and give them a lot of content in the off season.
Yeah.
But back to like the Devils and the Rangers.
A good series though, like especially because they're holding on for dear life right now. They are getting blasted with shots from what I've seen the last
2 minutes and 50 seconds. They got Kane and Panarin on the ice. Look out for that one.
God, and Vinny Trocheck.
Can we take a moment like to say how weird it is to see Patrick Kane in a Rangers jersey?
It feels so wrong.
What is going on? Like every time I see it, there's just a part of me that just gets uncomfortable. It's like me looking at, like, speaking of news today, Aaron Rodgers getting traded to the Jets. Like, that trade happened a month ago, it seems like, and it's finally official today. Have fun with that one. But it's going to be a similar sensation where it's like, what?
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
The Claude Giroux trade.
Dude.
Seeing him in a Panthers jersey.
Seeing him in a Panthers jersey,
Felt
and then
so
even
wrong.
worse, seeing him in a Sens jersey. It's so weird.
The Sens one I can at least somewhat understand.
Yeah.
The Panthers, it felt like sacrilege looking at that.
The other weird one is Ryan O'Reilly in a Leafs jersey. It looks so weird to me.
That one was interesting.
It looks so weird to me. I hope they re-sign him. I really do.
Oh God, Tampa's on a power play.
Yeah, it's 4-1. That game is practically curtains. But, you know, tied series heading back to Toronto. I mean, I could think of worse things. I can think of worse things. But
there's 2 minutes left on that game, by the way.
Yeah.
Devils might actually pull this off.
I hope they do. I hope they do. More hockey for me. More hockey for me.
Need to keep my bracket alive by all costs.
Next series we can talk about is Vegas and Winnipeg. Las Vegas versus Las Vegas.
Do we start with the games or the...
Dude, okay. I just want to rip the Band-Aid off now. This story is so Golden Knights.
This is so hilarious.
That, like, when I first saw it, I wasn't even surprised. Like, so apparently, Winnipeg beat Vegas in Game 1 by a pretty hefty margin. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was like 5-3.
There's a good story. There's a funny story dunking on Vegas. All the while something scary happened. But we'll get to the scary thing later.
Oh my gosh.
We'll get to the scary thing later.
Dude, Winnipeg wins Game 1. And not even 24 hours later.
5-1, by the way.
Oh, wow.
5-1.
I didn't even remember it was 5-1. But
it's a blowout.
Literally, like, I think it was like a solid 3 hours after the game, there was a report that apparently the Golden Knights took the pedals off the stationary bikes of the away team's locker room.
That is so funny to me. And the worst part is I can believe that as well. Because you see actions like remember the Ryan Reeves chicken call out to Vancouver?
Where Antoine Roussel got a 5-minute major for hugging Ryan Reeves.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, just so much. The amount of times they've, like, just given the middle finger to players like Pacioretty and Fleury.
My God.
Fleury, my goodness.
Dude, but, like, no, taking away the pedals on the stationary bikes, what are you doing, guys? Like, maybe, and, like, they have done this, like, maybe play a better game. I don't think it's the stationary bikes, dude.
I had to hold in a laugh because I just got something sent by my friend. I had to just push that away.
Oh,
God. It's
God.
very bad. We'll talk about it. It's something very not too cateable. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, those are for the summer episodes.
Oh, this is not meant to be put on any.
Oh, yeah, probably not. But we're college students, probably not.
I love how we can laugh. I mean, we can smile and laugh through this, like, through all these things, like, especially through that game, especially, I think we should address the scary thing about it.
Yeah.
I saw that and got queasy. That takes a lot. That was terrifying.
Morgan Barron. Did you see how many stitches he got?
75.
He got 75
I
and
forget,
came
where was
back
the
and played. He played.
Shut up. No.
He played games. No, he's playing tonight or whenever they
no
play next
way.
time. Yeah, he came
He's
back
not
in that
playing
game
tonight.
and played. He went with a full face cage and played. He played in the game. He got knocked over, got cut by the goalie skate in the face.
They don't even have him listed as injured.
No, because he's insane. Hockey players are nuts. They're nuts.
You're really... No way. Wow, you really are right with that. Hockey players, you guys
Dude.
are nuts.
And, like, here's the thing.
You guys are nuts.
These are the same guys who, when the NHL recommends, like, full face cages to, I don't know, protect your face, they're going to say no because I can't see in face cages.
The scary thing is, there's been multiple cases I've heard of people getting cut from skates and, there's one, it's an older one.
Someone's career got ended.
Someone got their throat cut.
Yeah, Sabres goalie, I think it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Evander Kane this year with the cut on his wrist.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
The cut on his wrist. I think there was
my
another
God.
one. I think it was a Penguins player. I think it might have been Brian Dumoulin who got a cut on his calf. Like, dude,
You're skating
these are
with
the
knives.
same guys that say I can't see with the full face cages. But you know what you also can't see with?
Your
A
eyes.
severed cornea.
That's
like-
insane. Where did the cut go? Was it like...
It was
here, or
like
was it,
from his eyebrow. He got super lucky. He didn't get cut in the eye. It was like from the top of his head down to like
What?
his eyebrow. Yeah.
He got it from...
Yeah.
Nah.
Because he got cross-checked into I think it was Logan Thompson's skate.
Forget the fact he didn't get cut in the eye. That's your brain.
Yeah. Yeah. That's your skull, dude. It's just a flesh wound, nothing more.
Yeah, we'll definitely
Oh,
be
it's just
talking...
but a flesh wound.
We'll definitely be talking about injuries in the offseason. That's insane.
Dude, hockey players
I
are
did
nuts.
not
They're
know.
nuts.
I did not know it was that insane.
They're nuts. Like, Morgan Riley last game got his nose broken,
God.
and he came out with nose gauze and played like it was nothing and went out and scored the overtime winner. They're insane.
Oh wait, he was the one who scored the overtime.
Yeah, and he got his nose broken like 20 minutes before, and he came back in and played.
Also, we're gonna give a quick update. It is now tied up 2-2.
Oh,
They scored an empty netter.
no.
Andre Palat with the assist by Jesper
Oh, wait.
Bratt and Eric Haula. They won 3-1.
I thought you said the game was tied 2-2.
The series is tied 2-2.
Series
I
is
think I did
tied
say game on
2-2.
accident because I'm dumb. But
Oh,
the series
man.
is tied 2-2. Devils pulling off 2 big wins.
Jeez, the Devils are.
Who knew all it took was saying goodbye Vitek Vanacek.
Dude, if the Devils win the next game,
That's gonna be crazy.
oh my, that's pretty
It's not-
good.
It's not like the Rangers haven't been in this position before.
Yeah, they have.
Cough, cough, Penguins.
Okay, but here's the thing: the Devils have like a competent goaltender that's not putting up a 790. Cough, cough, Louis Domingue.
What a name.
Spicy pork and broccoli.
Devils and Penguins fans both crying internally.
Dude, the spicy pork and broccoli was exactly like his goaltending performance in the series. Not the best. But, like, dude,
I guess.
Devil or Rangers when they play competent goaltending in the playoffs. Oh, it's my kryptonite. Oh! Like, literally last year, they played a third-string goalie and a backup goalie to make the conference finals. Come on. If you're going to call the Lightning's 2 cups Mickey Mouse, that's about as Mickey Mouse as that gets.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to hate on you Rangers fans, but, like, I will be impressed with the Rangers when they beat a team with a starting goaltender in the playoffs. And I know it's rich coming from Leaf Boy, but beat a starting goaltender in the playoffs. Because, like, you guys make fun of us all the time for losing to Vasilevsky, but you guys did the exact same thing. I don't want to hear it.
I love that. It's hilarious to me.
Like, beat a starting goalie. And even this year, if you beat the Devils, it's not the starter. So, like...
Yeah, it's a curious because
Yeah.
Vanacek is playing so bad.
Yeah. But, like, I have to say something nice about the Rangers because I feel like I'm hating on them too much. Like, I'm so sorry.
Nah, we like dunking on Rangers fans here.
Dude, I
our bias.
don't want to dunk on any teams like super terribly, but
I do. I like dunking on Vegas. It's fun.
okay, Vegas is the only exception. I'm not gonna dunk on the Rangers every single chance I get. Just because I'm a fan of a rival team doesn't mean I get to dunk on a team 24/7.
Fair.
Because the team that I've been the most unfair to throughout the history of this show is the Rangers. But, like, no, I think the Rangers this year, I think if they get past the Devils, they've had the Hurricanes' number, so I think they can get back to the conference finals if they get back.
I guess as well, let me just highlight that. I mean, I guess you said the Bruins series was bad. The Canes one's pretty close as well.
Oh, yeah. The Islanders had a really good game, and then they just ran out of gas.
They just don't have anything going.
I mean...
It's literally Sorokin standing on his head.
They have Sorokin, Barzal, and Horvat trying desperately.
And Brock Nelson.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, there's only, like... That's one of the problems with these teams like that get into the wild card spot that aren't necessarily like super hot going into the playoffs. You spend all of that energy just trying to get in, and you kind of run out of gas.
Well,
like there are these rare cases. They're like these rare cases with like the Kings in 2012, who were like the hottest team in hockey when they made it into the A seed. Like that wasn't really surprising.
The Mickey Mouse year.
Mickey Mouse year? You
know what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
The CN Tower, baby. you knew the minute I said that. You knew what I was going to. That's like the only.
Le Canadien Montreal.
I like pay.
dude.
Yeah, but like those are the only two examples I can think of. Are the Kings and the Habs. Like that's it.
That moment of lighting the CN Tower up in Habs colors would be the equivalent of, in Pittsburgh, the Highmark building, them lighting it up in purple because an AFC North team made the Super Bowl. Don't do that. Stop. Just don't do that.
They color it red for Devils fans.
I get it's a Canadian pride thing, but it's a rival team. Don't do that.
It's like coloring the the big billboard for PPG red for the Devils.
Yeah, it's like that, or like, I don't know, like, the William Penn, in Philly, the William Penn thing at, I don't remember which building exactly it's on. It'd be like them lighting it up yellow because the Penguins won the Stanley Cup. Like,
that would be such a...
Like, stop!
They would actually go burn that building to the ground in Philly.
Yeah, they would. And, do I blame them? Probably not.
No.
I'd be pissed, too.
I guess overall, the biggest issue with the wildcard teams, especially this year, like you said it, like they put so much energy to get in. Like that's why the only team that's really given a fight is Seattle.
Yeah,
it's because we got in with like 5-ish games to spare,
and you guys were good all year.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You had 100 points. That's a good season.
We had our points, but we had a good season. But like the other three teams, Panthers were clinging to the ledge all season long. They were on the outside
and
the entire
probably
season.
Shouldn't have made it. As well as the Islanders.
Depends. Anyways, the Islanders should have made it, but that's because they got bailed out from their goaltending and high-end talent. They had some of the worst depth, worst offensive depth I've seen
in a long time
for a playoff team in a very long time. Their offensive depth is horrid, and then you have Winnipeg, who I'm going to stand by it. There were two teams better than them.
Oh, there were
Calgary
and two teams
Nashville.
better.
I stand by that. One of those teams should have been in there, and it should not have been Winnipeg. I like the story from Morgan Barron. He came back after something like as crazy bad as that. And, like I said, it was funny. They won that game and dunked on Vegas and all that stuff, and the bikes and all that stuff, because we like making fun of Vegas.
Yeah.
But, they just shouldn't be there. It showed because they were... You saw that stretch they went on for 2 months where they just didn't know how to play hockey.
Yeah.
And then did just enough to squeak into the playoffs because they had awful... I'm pretty sure... Let me double check, make sure I'm not being an idiot. Yeah, save for the Wild win. I guess they have beat the Devils as well. But, Red Wings, okay. And then Preds Sharks, Like, and they lost to the Flames.
Yeah.
They were
I mean,
not good.
The only reason the Jets made the playoffs in the first place was because there was that stretch where they were like first in the Western Conference by like a mile.
I think that was to like what, December, I think?
Yeah, it was Christmas.
Yeah, it was through January onward they went the tailspin death spiral.
They
and it
were
shows.
the Penguins of the West, but had enough of a cushion to make it.
Yeah, because the West was way more lopsided.
Yeah.
Was the issue. That last spot, literally the only thing that saved them was that the Flames also went into a bad tailspin, and the Preds couldn't get any consistency all year.
But let's fire Brad Treliving instead of Daryl Sutter, because Brad Treliving was totally the problem instead of a dinosaur coach.
How about just send both of them to the guillotine? They both stink.
I probably would have fired both, but them keeping Daryl Sutter with his dinosaur tactics, so stupid.
Yeah, another thing we'll highlight for the offseason, because the Flames are going to be forever, I think, regretting the Kachuk trade.
Oh, yeah, but, like, again, they didn't really have that much of a choice. I think they made the best out of, like, a really bad situation. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm having a hard time criticizing the Flames for that, just because, like, your star player wanted to leave. You basically had to do something. Like, you got value for it. That's really...
Yes, but...
It's better than losing him in free agency like they did Johnny Gaudreau. They at least got something for him.
Yeah, that's true. It's just painful because you watch, like, because that should, in my mind, it should have been Flames or Preds there, because the Jets just look. They look like they don't belong. I know you could technically say the Panthers also don't belong, but my goodness, at least for what I've watched, the Panthers, yes, all 3 games have been kind of lopsided. Yeah. But they've really done their best to keep them in a series.
Yeah.
And maybe that's unfair because Winnipeg's done a better job.
Yeah.
Because they had that double overtime loss.
But yet again, with the comparison between Winnipeg and Florida, Florida's playing the best NHL regular season team of all time. And Winnipeg is playing
the biggest villain in the NHL.
Middling Vegas team that if they got a draw from even Seattle, I think, they would have lost. Like, I just don't think Vegas is all that great. With the games I've seen them even playing against Winnipeg.
Yeah. I mean, the only game they've looked good in was Game 2.
Yeah.
Game 3, they looked terrible. Genuinely.
Game 3, they looked good until the third period.
Oh, my goodness.
Until they decided to put on the blue and white pajamas and...
and get shelled.
And then in the intermission before overtime, they took them off and won.
Did you see who scored the OT winner that game?
Was it Michael Amadio?
It was Michael Amadio.
Oh my gosh.
Former release Michael Amadio, baby.
Dude, please. Please.
You know how many goals he has this season?
Like 4?
How about you multiply that by 4?
He's 16?
16 goals.
Michael Amadio has 16 goals.
I have the fact here to check. He has 16 goals in the regular season.
He has 16 goals?
Alex Kerfoot, baby. Anyways.
Dude.
He has more goals than Kerfoot.
How are you so consistently wrong? You die on the hill of Kerfoot with McCann, puts up like 40. Die on the hill of Kerfoot on...
He has 10. He has 10. Amadio has 6 more goals.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. This is like part of the show is me cutting moves into Jimmy, but it's like...
It's entertaining, apparently.
I feel so bad.
No, like, you don't.
No, because it's fun making fun of Kerfoot, because I laughed at that move when I saw McCann come to us, and I laughed when I said, why is he still here?
Dude, just think about the analytics of the viewers. We get more viewers when the Leafs suck. So, like, if they win, it's great. But once, like, we start getting sponsors, it's going to start costing us money when they're good. So, like, part of me wants to keep this up. But not really. Because I would
think about your mental. Hey, the Leafs scored.
Yeah, 4-2. Yeah, sick.
I used to play It's on the choke. Don't worry.
Dude, they're down 4-2. You can't choke that. Hard to choke when
last
you
night?
don't have a lead, bro.
Remember last night?
Yeah, that was a much
know it was a
more
one-goal lead,
manageable deficit. That was 1 goal.
Everybody telling me they looked bad through most of that game, so.
Dude,
It's
I don't...
never too late.
Speaking of Game 3, I don't know how they won. That's probably the first Leafs game in a long time where they won a playoff game that they had no business winning. They had none. Dude, that second period they played was like one of the worst periods of hockey I've ever seen them play. And it's not even necessarily their fault. It's just Tampa was so good at not letting them gain the zone. Like, they just had them hemmed in the
There's
whole
something
time.
weird about the way Tampa plays.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, I think you said it best when we were prepping for the playoff series.
Yeah.
Something about them, they just know how to, like, turn it on when the playoffs hit.
I think it's John Cooper. I think it's just the group in general. They've been there before. They know what it takes.
And it's so funny because they're about to fire him out of a cannon
In 2018.
Or
yeah,
after the Blue Jackets series.
2019.
And now they
Oh
have
my
2
gosh.
cups and a cup final to their
That's
name.
the last time. Think about this for a second. That is the last time the Lightning have been eliminated before the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
That's the last time.
That's nuts.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, Leafs. Make a
And
big
everyone
comeback.
was saying, cut the core. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, I do.
That
I
being
can
said,
feel this.
That being said, if the Leafs lose in the first round again,
He
blow
goes
it up.
full Joker.
blow it up. Blow it up. You have to.
Send Marner to the sun.
I don't send Marner away. I don't send Matthews
Probably
away.
tomorrow's ain't it?
But restructure the entire thing. Like,
You can't
literally
get rid of
redo like everything you can.
It just feels
That's
weird.
a topic
as
for
all-
another day.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, we're gonna hope for the best. Like I said, with the last 5 minutes, I mean, we got
Hope for the
we got
best.
we got the Leafs still potentially able to make a comeback. If they can
No.
get a goal within the next 3 minutes, they could definitely make a comeback.
Nope.
Hey, yo, do what I do. Have faith.
Oh. Is this your first time?
It's my 3rd time.
Have faith, he says. Oh my gosh. Have faith.
Hey,
I will have
lost-
faith when they win a playoff series. It's the first time
I watched the Blue Jacket
in
series. I watched the Habs series.
2004.
I watched the Blue Jacket series. I watched the Habs series. I watched the Lightning series. I know you.
How'd all
understand
them
where
work
we're
out?
playing.
How'd all them work out?
Sad, but you know what?
Yeah,
Listen.
here's the thing. You don't really have an attachment to them. I do.
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, some of them have been less painful than others. The series I was probably the least upset that they lost was last year.
I feel
Because
like it
Tampa
hurt
was
them
back-to-back
most, though.
champions. The one that I was most upset about
The year
was
before.
probably
The Habs.
Montreal. And no, probably, it was Montreal.
See it happen. I'm just gonna laugh at that forever. Listen, at the end of the day, it's playoff time, and
Yeah.
you know what's the best part about it? Anything's possible.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
That's what makes it great.
Like,
I'm gonna pray to
the
God
Leafs-
Seattle does not choke.
The Leafs can get past the first round just like I can pass my differential equations final.
Don't talk about finals.
Both
no,
things
no,
can happen.
No, I'm not mentally ready for finals. I still got interviews and other things. I'm not mentally ready for finals. It is Monday and it feels like Wednesday in my mind.
Yeah, it is not Wednesday. It's very not Wednesday, but it's okay. You have time. It's
Yeah, but
just
not
it's just
mental
like the
sanity,
Leafs
though.
and the Kraken. They have time.
Yeah, but I don't have the mental sanity that.
You and me both, considering I have finals and the blue and white syndrome happening at the same time.
And mine
At least
just
last
fails.
year they were nice and only game 1 was during finals.
Like I said, I'm really hoping Game 7 does not happen because it's Monday, May 1st.
We need
folks.
to... Yeah, so in the last couple of minutes, we're probably going to need to talk about
The deal?
the May 1st show.
Oh, yeah.
So...
For warnings.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. With the way this show is structured, we are on Duquesne Student Radio, when we record these, like, for our Spotify listeners,
Yes.
like, you guys listen on, like, a completely different service. Like, that's fine.
Our main broadcast goes out through DSR, Duquesne Student Radio, and that's where we filmed our first 3 episodes. Oh, filmed. Video man here.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's how we've live streamed or live broadcasted
Yeah.
our first 3 episodes. But technically, because are you still going to be here the 1st of May?
I'm going to be here the 1st of May.
And so am I. So this would probably be our last last episode at DSR at Duquesne.
So, really what I think would be the safe bet, because as history has shown, they are going to play Game 7, and there's a highly likely chance that they will lose. And here's the thing. I don't want this show to get pulled because of us saying, like, any swear words or anything out of anger.
We say we.
So...
we say we.
Is it 4-3 now?
It is 4-3. They haven't said who scored it.
Oh,
but anyways, keep going.
don't do this to
Keep
me.
going. Keep
Don't
going.
do this
Keep
to
going.
me.
Keep going.
But, really what I want to do out of an abundance of caution, if this series goes 7, I think we're going to hold off on a live show. We're still going to do a show. Like,
Yes.
don't worry, we're still going to do a show. But I'm thinking that it's probably only going to be available wherever you get your podcasts, just because it gives us more of the freedom to talk about what we want to talk about.
And in case we say something very unducaneable.
Yeah, like, guys, I'm going to be honest with you.
That's
If
all
they
I'll say.
lose in Game 7 again, like, I'm going to do my best to make sure the podcast isn't, like, unlistenable. But at the same time, there are probably going to be points where I'm just too angry to hold it in. So, really, here's the deal. Like, here's the TLDR of this whole thing.
Okay.
We're going to have a show next week on Monday. We are going to play it by ear if it is going to be live or not. If there is a Game 7, just plan on no live show. If there is not a Game 7 and the series is over in 6, we'll have a live show.
Yes.
Because
if it goes to Game 7,
yeah,
I don't think I could. I don't think I could be here to save Jimmy's.
It's
sanity.
also going to likely be better content for all of you anyways, because I don't think you guys want to sit here for an hour and listen to us monitoring, like, the second and third periods of a Game 7.
And me giving Jimmy therapy.
Like, I don't think you guys want to see that. So really, we're just gonna go. If it goes to Game 7, we're gonna do a non-live show that'll be available on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. You know the deal.
What we could even do is we could film it. We could film a live stream of us
Up in the main studio.
up either in the main studio or in DSTV, either or.
Yeah, that works for me.
So,
But of course, if you guys want us to cover anything, just reach out in the DMs on Twitter or add us on Twitter. It doesn't matter how you guys want to get in contact with us. Also on Instagram too. Instagram at Pond Hockey Podcast.
Yes.
On Twitter, it's at Pond Hockey Pod because character limits. But yeah, like next week, if you guys want us to really cover something, just let us know. We'll do whatever we can. We'll listen to you guys. Well, with that being said, thank all of you guys for joining us this week. It was a pretty fun episode. Hopefully next week it'll be more about playoff hockey instead of officiating.
And hopefully Jimmy's sanity's not destroyed.
Yeah, there's a solid chance it will be, but again, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the feedback and support you guys have been giving us over these last 3 episodes.
We'll be going crazy for the support. We really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. And also, an announcement to make. Even though we're leaving, like, the studio at Duquesne, like, we won't be at WDSR, we are going to produce shows during the rest of the playoffs from where we live, as well as in the off season. So stay tuned for information about that. Whether or not we do it once a week or twice a week, we're not sure yet. But
we'll get a schedule together.
Yeah,
we'll
just
talk. We can talk about
tuned.
it on the first, like the week
Yeah.
after, because we'll be. Well, actually, I don't know what your finals are like. But we'll talk about that. After.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But once again, thank you guys for joining, and we will see you again next week. Have a good week, everyone. Take care. Good luck to your teams in the playoffs.